think for me, I just want to be financially stable, especially, not only now, but in the future as well. Especially, I've got kids I need to look after, and yeah, I just want to be more savvy with finances and stuff. Because I think in this current day and age, I think just working and being an employee is not enough. And you need to be sort of like investing into something that's more stable and something that would build growth, like financially. So I think, like for me, in my point of view, the property would be, like really helpful in that way for me and my family. With a friend of mine who I do, endurance sports with. So we do a lot of chats, doing bike rides and stuff. And then so he came up and I don't know how we talked about it with finances and stuff. And so he shared his journey with me, building houses and stuff. I think he's got 5 now, something, 4 or 5 houses. So yeah, so he referred me to Infinity, and the rest of the guys came over and then explained to me how it's going to work. And yeah, fast forward to now, I've got my first investment property, which is really nice. Yeah. Oh, I think because I wasn't educated enough, and I thought I couldn't afford it. But there are ways in which, there are avenues in which you can sort of tap into so that you can, build your first investment property. And I was just, naive from a person looking outside, seeing all these people. It's like, how can they have like multiple properties? How are they able to afford that? It sort of like was a big question mark in my head. But when they explained to me how it's done, I was quite intrigued. And when they told me that I'm able to do it with my current, situation, yeah, we jumped on it. So it was good. With how they explained to me, they're very straightforward, and I think, authentic as well in that sense. And I was the type of guy wherein just give it to me straight, tell me if I can do it or not. And like the way they explained it to me, I was really convinced that this would work and this won't affect my finances too much, wherein I'd still be comfortable with everything, like with this house, and being able to afford another house. So in that for me, and I always wanted to have a property as well, to build growth. So that's why I chose Infinity. Yeah. Well, for people like me that it's not very educated in these types of stuff, they're a huge help, because they've got like heaps of knowledge and connections as well, with the builders, bankers, and it just made the transaction so smooth because they reviewed everything for me. And yeah, if I did it myself, I think it'd just be time consuming. I'd be scratching my head. I'd probably lose a hair, and probably have got a lot of white hairs on me now, because I know that there's a lot of things that you need to read about, and you need to talk to the builders, you need to talk to the bankers. In that sense, Infinity helped, just cut all these other stuff that you don't need to worry about, and just focus in on this stuff that that matters. So I think they simplified everything for me, and they sort of like just smoothen everything out. So yeah, I think they're gonna be very helpful, and I recommended them to a couple of my friends already. The journey was great. Their communication was great as well. Every time I tried to call them or popped an email through, they'd answer back too, straight away within the day. Which for me, if you worry something, it gives you that peace of mind that you can talk to someone. And of course, with the building process, not everything will be smooth. You'll experience hurdles along the road, and they're very helpful. They communicated everything to me, and yeah, pretty much they helped me with to fix some problems, yeah, during the build process, which if it weren't for them, I don't think I'll be able to manage on my own. So they're very targeted, I think, with how they presented it to me. So our location is Brookfield. We chose Brookfield, close to Melton area. It's a fast-growing area where there's heaps of potential. Like if you look at 2-3 years down the track, there'll be hospitals around the area, infrastructures that's going to be built along the area, which would help the value of the property to grow even further. And plus you're getting it at a point where there's a low price point at the moment, and then so you'd have that growth that we were talking about, like fast forward 2-3 years down the track once these infrastructures are built along the area. So but they presented to me like 3 main areas that are well placed, but ultimately I decided that I wanted this area due to the fact that the infrastructures, that there's a new hospital, public hospital, that's going to be built around that area as well. We chose a property that's a 4-bedroom property. It's not as big, but you've got 4 bedrooms, and then you still have that competitive price point wherein you can get renters in low maintenance kind of property, and easy to rent, and as well as as I've said, low maintenance and low price point property. So that's what we decided on. I'm very happy with how it turned out with Infinity, how they helped me secure this first investment property. I can't say I wouldn't have been able to do it myself without their help. And definitely, once I've got my renters in, we'll probably look at building another property with Infinity, and hopefully it's going to be a smooth one as well.